I want to thank you all for coming and signing up to listen to our career speaker. We have one more presentation coming up next week. Officer Maloney will be talking about his time in the service and then how that transitioned into him being a police officer and now our SRO right here at East Senior. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Darren Wojcicki. He is the co-owner and operations manager and everything else that is needed when it's needed for the Warrior Factory, which is a ninja gym in Williamsville. So he's going to talk to us all about what he does and kind of how he got there. So can you join me in welcoming him?
All right. Thank you for having me today. I like to pace when I talk, so whenever I answer the phone, whenever people come in, excuse me for moving so much. So first off, my name is Darren. It's funny because I love coming to these types of things and actually have these discussions. And there's a very specific reason why. Just want to make sure you can hear me still. I feel personally that it wasn't too long ago that I was in your seat. All right. It might have been a few years ago. But trust me when I say I did not know what I wanted to do in life. And I was sitting for a career series. I actually went to Depew High School, graduated there, actually got accepted to Canisius, and I went for political science, pre-law, and economics. So here's the thing. I always thought I was going to be a lawyer. I felt like I could talk my way out of a brown bag. Basically, I said, I am doing this. I'm dead set on it. Ended up getting accepted, going my first semester to Canisius, and I hated every second of it. I ended up calling the head of the department for the sports medicine program, which was a complete 180. All right. I ended up saying, hey, I don't like what I went to school for. I am a bit confused of what I want to do. I played sports. I was good at them. I think I may want to try it. He's like, okay, great. Are you good at science? I'm like, no, but I think I could figure it out. And he's like, well, just so you know, we only accept 16 kids into the program, and we have about 150 people apply. I'm like, no problem. I'm going to switch my degree, and I'm going to go for sports medicine athletic training. Ended up actually getting accepted number one into the program because I was dead set on it. I was passionate about sports. I liked what I was learning, and things were great. Went for 4 years, ended up having to go to summer school too because the big negative to this was if I actually missed getting into that program, not only would I have missed my first semester at Canisius, my second semester at Canisius, and my my third semester, but second year, first semester, I'd be 1.5 years into my college career at Canisius, which is basically an expensive private school, and I would have nothing to show for it. So, got accepted in. 4 years came and went, and I realized after I was done, I wanted nothing to do with athletic training. And there was a very specific reason why. I was working with athletes. They were super talented. It's a D1 school. May not be the D1 that we think about, like Florida and North Carolina at Chapel Hill and Kentucky and Duke and all that. But it is a D1 school. And I felt like I was working with people that felt like they were God's gift to the earth. They were better than everyone else. They could do things. And here I am working with these athletes, being one myself, and I felt like I was not happy. So I ended up graduating. The next day, I ended up going to the mall, like most kids do. Ended up walking to Abercrombie and Fitch, and they're like, hey, do you want a job? I'm like, no, I just graduated. I have to get a real job. And they're like, oh, wait, you graduated? What, high school? I know, I looked young at the time, younger than this. And I'm like, no, I actually graduated college. And they're like, do you want a manager job? I'm like, I don't understand. I literally just graduated. I have no experience at Abercrombie. I don't know how to do these things. I don't know customer service and things like that. And they're like, oh, that's fine. We'll teach you. I ended up walking the stage on Saturday and started Abercrombie and Fitch as a manager on Sunday. I'm like, all right, this is great. I walked into a perfect thing. Started collecting a paycheck. That was awesome. All right. Ended up working there for about 2 years until the big fallout of Abercrombie, where they basically, the entire system crumpled down. So half the company was gone. So ended up taking a little time for me. Ended up traveling. I was living on unemployment. Traveled. I went to Florida. I went to Arizona. I went to New York City. I went to visit Toronto. I was in, you name it, Cleveland. I was all over the place. Loving life, traveling with friends, probably spending more money than I should have, until I went into the gym one day. I loved working out. It was one of the things I did. And a person that I went to school with at Canisius, he actually managed the gym. And he's like, hey, you know, we're looking for personal trainers. I see that you're always working out. You're working out with other friends. I'm like, yeah, I appreciate it, but I'm not interested right now. Because again, I'm on unemployment. I'm getting free money. I was a kid collecting free money. It was great. I ended up going home that day and ended up getting a letter from the government saying, hey, your unemployment's running out next week. Ended up going back into the gym that next day. And I'm like, all right, I really thought about it, and I actually think this would be a really good opportunity for me. So it just kind of fell in my lap again. Started personal training. Didn't have any certifications, just my background at Canisius with sports med athletic training. And ended up personal training for another, I'd say, year and a half. Realized at that point in time that I was trading dollars for hours. So I would wake up 4 a.m., end up going to work to train people 5 a.m. Well, it would stop around 9 a.m. because who can get personal training? Usually people that have money. So they have usually a job. So it was before work. It was their lunch breaks, 11:30 to, let's say, 1. And then again, when they got out of work, so 4 o'clock till question mark. So I was working 7 days a week, dealing with maybe 120 people a week, personal training, which was great. I loved what I was doing, but it was draining on me. I ended up meeting a girl, my wife now, and I remember one day telling her, I'm like, I can't keep this up. I'm wearing myself out. Ended up applying for a job through CSX as a regional wellness coordinator. It was awesome. I got to travel. Again, so I was in Albany. I was in charge of basically all of New York State, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. And I would travel. I would get to do fun things. I would do diabetes screenings, pulmonary function testing. I would teach CPR. I would do personal training, health coaching, nutrition guidance, a lot of fun things. And the cool thing about it is that I didn't have to necessarily do one thing every day. I could, if I wasn't feeling it that day, I could do something different. And I was there for 8 years. While I was there, I ended up learning about what the sport of Ninja Warrior is. And so this is my question to all of you. Does anybody even know what Ninja Warrior is? You've seen the TV show American Ninja Warrior? All right, good. So back before the big popularity of the sport came to be, ninjas that were actually on the TV show would probably travel about 10 to 15 hours from the few gyms that actually existed. And these gyms, we call them garage gyms now. They were 2x4s on the wall. They were, things literally hanging from the rafters of the ceiling. There was no trussing. There was no actual obstacles. It was things that we would make out of our backyards. And the things that we would do were absolutely ridiculous, but it was fun and it kept me in shape. So here I was, still loving sports because I was part of it back when I was in school. I was still doing working out. I was still doing my job, which involved health and fitness. And I started meeting all these people that were actually on the TV show. So I met a person, he's been on it actually 6 times. His son's been on it twice. And another person that would come up as well, they were both from Rochester. So 8 years into my time at CSX, and these 2 individuals had opened a ninja gym in Rochester. This ninja gym was absolutely beautiful. It was all state-of-the-art equipment. It was trussing. It was the professionally made obstacles, metal fabricated. It was phenomenal. In fact, people now would travel from the opposite side of the United States to come to this facility. It's in Rochester. It was called the Warrior Factory. And I knew these individuals fairly well because we would all train together. We'd compete together. One day, they reached out to me because I was still in the community. I actually started coaching out of that garage gym that was here. And I kind of made a name for myself in the sport. I competed against these people. We would rub elbows. We knew each other. And I actually would go to their gym occasionally. And they approached me and they're like, so we're doing well. And we need to, or we're thinking about expanding to Buffalo. And we're wondering if you and your wife, because my wife is also in the fitness industry, would be interested in running and operating it. And I did tell them, like, this is interesting to me, but I feel like I'm finally at my forever job. All right. I'm at CSX. I love what I do. I get to travel. But even the travel started to wear on me. And, my wife and I are talking about possibly having a family. We got 2 little puppies at home. I'm like, so I'm just not looking to operate a gym or be a manager when I have a career that I have. And they're like, this is what we can do. We're going to bring you in as a partner. And I'm like, all right, you piqued my interest. So my wife and I actually opened the Warrior Factory Buffalo. We opened September 2019, which was 6 months before the pandemic. So it was literally the scariest moment of my life. So imagine taking all the money that you have saved, putting it into a gym, and someone telling you you have to shut your doors. You're not allowed to bring in money. Now, mind you, you still have to pay the $1 million loan. You still have to pay rent. You still have to pay your gas, your electric. So a lot of money is going out and no money is coming in. So here I am again. All right, what do? I ended up getting a job at Amazon because there's an Amazon facility down on Walden in Lancaster. I would end up waking up at 3 a.m., work from 4 a.m. till 9 a.m. at Amazon, then go to the gym and try to do things that I could bring in any form of money possible. So I would work from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. there, go home, eat, sleep, and do it again. Because I did exactly what they told you not to do, borrow from family and friends. And I took a risk. So luckily, we did make it out of the pandemic. We still had doors to open, but there were so many stipulations that we had to follow and go through. And we abided by them. And all of a sudden, when I felt like we were hitting our stride and we got shut down, we started to hit our stride again. In fact, during that time frame, we also opened a facility in Syracuse, Hamilton, Ontario, and now we actually started to express interest in the entire Ontario area. All right, so things are obviously going good. Life is great, no complaints, but in order to get there, it wasn't necessarily the easiest task. So what is a Ninja Gym? Well, the idea behind it is we provide a safe environment for kids to come and let out all that energy. One of our mottos is play, train, compete. You can come in, let out the energy. You can come in and train because when you learn what you're doing and you become good at it, you enjoy it more. And then that next step is once you do start learning how to do things and you're getting excited about it and you're doing well at it, now you want to start comparing yourself to other people and competing. After that, we have another phase that we call our coaching. So play, train, compete, coach. Why? Because there is going to become a point in time where I have taught you everything you need. I've always been taught this. A personal trainer or a coach is for one of 3 people. One, the person that doesn't have a clue, that are just starting out in the sport, to give them the guidance that they need. Number 2, it's for the person that needs that extra push, okay? I'm sure how many people here are on a sports team? Okay, athletes, okay? I'm sure if your coach is yelling at you, it gives you that little bit of motivation to go. And then there's the third person, which just needs a time and date to get to a certain location, all right? So that's always what we were taught in regards to coaching, personal training. So once we get to that point with our athletes, and this is probably one of the most gratifying things in my job, is that I get kids that I have coached through their, 10, 11, 12, 13, all the way up to 16. And when they turn 16, a lot of those kids that I coached are now my coaches. So I will say it's very gratifying kind of seeing that come full circle where they're now coaching, and I see the things that I said to them at one point in time, they're saying to other people. So we have plenty of programs that we offer. Our prime age demographic is for children between the ages of 6 and 15. Our birthday parties, we've been very fortunate. We won best destination for a child's birthday party. We won best indoor activity for a family fun fitness. We've won best indoor attraction. So we've won plenty of awards, and that's great. But here's the thing. We're giving these kids an outlet so that way they can actually get out from behind the screens. So what I'm basically trying to tell you is that, honestly, I was the last person to know what I wanted to do. I thought I knew, and my life literally got flipped 180 degrees going from political science, pre-law, economics, and headed down a new path. I did a bunch of things growing up. I delivered papers. I worked as a server. I worked as a personal trainer. I worked in management. I worked from a corporate CSX job. Everything that I did along the way kind of helped shape my path. So it's funny because the reason I like doing these talks is specifically because all of you, let me ask you this. How many people are going to college? All right. How many people know what you want to do in college? All right. What do you want to do? Cosmetology? What's that? Vet tech? Dentist? Fellas, what do you want to do? Don't know yet? All right. So here's the thing. 50-50 split. Some people know what they want to do. Other people don't know what they want to do. I was dead set on what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a lawyer. Political science, pre-law, economics. Want to know why? Because I thought I was going to make a lot of money. And that kind of pushed me towards that target. Realized one semester in that I wasn't happy. So I'm now I'm going to ask you another question. How many people like animals? How many people like hanging out with friends and talking to people? All right? How many people like sports? All right, so here's the thing. I could ask you a million questions. Believe it or not, you're already shaping what you want to do with your life. Do not chase dollars, okay? I tell people, have fun with what you do. I tell people flat out, my job is probably one of the coolest jobs that I have come across. I get to play on a park all day. Instead of falling on rocks, I get to fall on pads. I get to hang out with, I get to be a child. I get to hang out with adults. I get to talk to people. But I also get to run a business simultaneously. Now, you could say that all the jobs that I had helped get me to the position I'm in, and they definitely did. But it's also the relationships I formed along the way. With my business partners, Carl and Bernard, again, those two are the masterminds behind this. They welcomed me and my wife in strictly because of who I was as a person. They flat out, when we sat down, they knew that I had a background in exercise science. They knew that I was passionate about ninja. They knew I enjoyed working with kids. It was a perfect fit. But the reason why they came up to me, because there's plenty of those people out there, was strictly because of the fact I had a good relationship with them. I was always professional. I was always, fun. We had fun together. So it's kind of another lesson for you too. Don't disregard any person that comes into your life because you don't know how they're going to impact your life later on. All right? So some other fun things about Ninja as a whole, I get to travel now a lot. In fact, we have a competition team. We're affiliated with the World Ninja League. We travel for regionals this year. Last year was in New Jersey. Regionals will now be in Columbus, Ohio. So I get to hang out with probably 100 other coaches and a couple thousand athletes that get to train regularly. And when I tell you, these people doing Ninja are utterly amazing at what they do. You've seen the TV show American Ninja Warrior? That 14-foot warp wall, I think it's now 14 and a half. We have a 15-foot warp wall in our facility. We have 9-year-olds getting up that 15-foot warp wall. 9 years old. We have kids that are 10 years old doing 11-foot laches. That's where you're on a bar and you swing and catch another bar at 11 feet. All right? I have people that I train with that can do 15 feet with one arm. I'm telling you, these things that kids can do when you receive the correct coaching are utterly amazing. And I'm not going to lie, it's a lot of fun watching these things. The crowds erupt. So I, in a sense, everything that I did kind of got me to where I am. The people I met along the way helped get me to where I am. And I shaped my own path by everything that kind of came into my life, and I didn't settle. I created my own job in a sense from a owner and management means. In fact, the exciting thing is we literally, it is Wednesday. On Friday, we actually sign a lease for Hamburg. So we're actually putting up another facility, not too far from here, that will be doing the same thing that we're doing in Williamsville. And these ninja gyms are popping up all over the place. I also have 2 people that I literally need to talk to this week about putting up locations in Ontario. So the sport's growing. The athletes are developing. And honestly, it's just something fun. I actually am passionate about it. So, with that being said, I kind of gave you the quick synopsis of how I got to where I am. I gave you a quick synopsis of what a ninja gym is, on what we offer. And trust me, we have everything from ninja curriculum that mimics a belt system in karate, where we progress the kids from a white band to the black band, a homeschool program. We do field trips. We have a mobile unit that we literally set up in schools, and kids, just like you, can actually go and actually participate on it. So we have so many things to offer, a competition team. It's just fun. So I would highly encourage, even if you are unsure of what you want to do, don't be afraid to try something new. All right? I do think education is important because everything that I went through got me to where I am. But have fun with it. Because if you're not enjoying what you do, you are going to be miserable, and it's going to change you as a person. So, does anybody have any questions? Actually, want to know the funny thing is, I tell people our prime age demographic is 6 to 15, but we have kids coming in from 3 to 76. And that 76-year-old has actually been on the show. He lives right down the road. And I hope that I'm in half as good a shape as he is when I am 76 years old. Yes, he can do things that are just as amazing as some of these kids. So if we end up signing the lease, because with anything else, I've learned many things because I didn't own my own business. I'm responsible for all the, bills coming in and things like that. If we sign it this Friday, our goal is once they do their build out of the facility, which should take about a month, and that's just general things like bathrooms, the lighting and things like that. Hopefully we will be up and running by August. That's our goal. So it is a quick turnaround. In fact, the cool thing about it too is everything that, I know they're not great pictures because they're mainly of what our programs are, but we have a 10,000 square foot facility in Williamsville. The one in Hamburg will be about 5,000 square feet, but I literally built everything on the obstacle park, from the carpet bonded foam to the trussing to putting all the obstacles where they are. We built the warp walls, we built all the platforms, the trampolines, everything. So literally everything in there is done by both myself and my one business partner. So the goal is August. This one will be, because it's going to be half the square footage, 5,000 square feet versus 10,000 square feet. It will be most likely just me and a few of my employees out of Williamsville. We do. Yeah. She's going to come. No, honestly, the great thing about it is that we do have a set schedule, and it's very important. You know, we have plenty of athletes here. It's all about a student to coach ratio. So we have set times throughout the day so that way we can make sure that we're appropriately staffed for everyone else.
Any last minute questions? Okay. Thank you so much. That was absolutely awesome. Can we give him our appreciation?